Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'll answer the question that's on everybody's mind. How tall is Jonesy? Some of you may be aware that the tower in the centre of Tilted Towers is often referred to as Trump Tower, which is a real building that we can find the height of. So I went into a playground game and stood at default in front of Trump Tower and measured how many fit into the entirety of the building, and found that it's roughly the size of 15 Jonesies. Now if we look up how tall Trump Tower is, we can see that it's 202 meters tall. So to find the height of Jonesy, we divide 202 by 15 and find he's 13.4 meters. Or 44 feet. I'm sorry, what? So just for reference, this is the average height of a man and woman. And these are the Fortnite characters. That's pretty tall. In case you're not quite grasping how tall these guys are, here are two giraffes stood on top of each other, and they're still not as tall as Jonesy. So now we've established just how tall Jonesy is, I thought, well, how big is his AR? How big is the generic weapon that this beast uses? So I took a shot with the default carrying an AR, and measured her known height up against the AR and found that it is around 7 meters. To put this into context, this is the size of a Honda Accord, and this is the size of an AR. I mean, imagine being shot at with a weapon bigger than your car. It's just insane. So now that we know the rough sizes of some Fortnite items, I wanted to move on to something different, so I moved on to the Chug Jug. So again, I took some reference shots and found that the Chug Jug is about 5.4 meters tall, has a radius of around 1.4 meters. Now, it's not quite filled to the top, so if we say it's 90% filled with whatever steroids they've got pumped in there, then by using some simple maths, we can find that the Chug Jug holds around 30,000 litres of liquid. That's quite a lot. So this is a bathtub's worth of water, approximately 80 litres, and this is how many bathtubs of water you would need to fill a Chug Jug. Again, that's a hefty amount, but let's go a bit smaller, okay? So this is an ordinary 1 litre bottle of water, and if we zoom out we can see just how many 1 litre bottles of water we'd need to fill a Chug Jug. And he drinks it in 15 seconds. This man drinks liquid at a rate of 2,000 litres per second. Remember those people that could drink a litre of water in a second? They've got nothing on Jonesy. Now, don't worry, I know what you're thinking. How big are John Wick's hands? And don't you worry, I went out and referenced his hands against his entire 13.4 meter body to find that his hands are around 1.4 meters tall. If you ask me, those are some pretty big hands, like big up John Wick. I mean, this man literally has the capability to just pick up a cow and yeet it off a cliff. I'd be pretty scared of that. So now I feel I've adequately evaluated the size of different Fortnite items and features. I wanted to know how durable the characters are. And we know that these guys can take an AR bullet to the face without a scratch, which even steel can't do. So we can already see they're pretty durable. But I thought the best way to find out how durable they are was to find out how high they could fall from. So after extensive research, I found that this was the max height a character could fall from without dying. And if we measure that up against our already known height, we can see that this is 14 characters tall, or 187 meters. So these guys can fall off the top of 2 big bends stacked on top of each other and still live. They can survive from distances higher than 3 leaning towers of Pisa. So it's safe to say they're pretty durable. So finally, I wanted to find out how fast these guys were. So I went to the top of the stadium because it's a flat stretch and found that its length equates to 35 Jonesies, and then timed John Wick running from one side to the other, which he did in about 9.7 seconds. So by multiplying Jonesy's height by 35, I found the stadium was 470 meters long, and by dividing that by 9.7, I found that Jonesy's runs at 49 meters per second, or 110 miles an hour. Considering the speed limit on a UK motorway, 70 miles per hour, I'd say that's pretty quick for a guy that's carrying 5 guns and up to 1,000 ammo for each. Also, At Usain Bolt's fastest running speed, he managed to run at 27.8 miles per hour, around 4 times slower than Jonesy. He's even faster than a cheetah, for goodness sake. Like, come on. This isn't even the fastest thing on the map, in case you're forgetting that planes were a thing. So, to make things easy, I found the length of a plane using a character, and then flew it using the boost across my screen, and timed it at its fastest point. So it took 2.8 seconds to travel 382 meters, which equates to 136 meters per second, or 304 miles per hour. But even this isn't the fastest object, because if you measure up the length of a quad crasher, you can use a massive hill and ramp to boost your speed. So I measured the time between its fastest points and the distance it travelled to find it travelled at around 195 meters per second, or 436 miles per hour. If you look at the fastest car in the world, which is supposedly the Hennessy Venom F5, which has a max speed of 301 miles per hour, and consider that it's being beaten by this, I'd say Fortnite's not doing too badly.